We are on WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. I'm so excited about this episode. I feel like I'm in Almost Famous when the Cameron Crowe character says to the band, "I'm a fan of your band," you know, when he's trying to get backstage to do the interview for Cream magazine. And I am a big fan of the Bluestones, man. Love your band. And Tarek from Bluestones is on Reconnect with Rockers. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you. We should give you a big hug. Thanks for coming
It's a big
on.
virtual hug. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is fun. This is good.
It's so bizarre how we're doing things these days. You know,
Yes.
Kind of in the isolation nation. That's why we put together this feature, because our listeners know that we love to connect them with artists. We were going to do something with you guys in June, have you come out and do a lunchtime thing, and people were so excited about it. And then, of course, not happening now. So Still giving people a little taste of what they love about our radio station in the state of New Jersey. And that's really getting people, you know, up close and personal with rockers. So first of all, so where do I start? I'm going to say this. We're going to talk about the Windsor, Ontario thing. You're the Canadian Americans. You're the Canadian Americans, because I think we grabbed you. We grabbed you first. I don't care what anyone says. We took you.
It's funny because you're kind of right there, Terry. I mean, like, when I think about when we started to sort of like take off momentum wise, it was in the States first, and we had been touring independently in Canada for a very long time. But it wasn't until a management company in the States kind of noticed us and things started taking off on the States side that Canada was like, oh, hold on, wait a second, these guys are from Canada, they're ours. But to be honest, I don't know. I feel like your first love is always your first love. You know,
I like to say that, you know, Canadian band, but they kind of broke in here first because, you know, we know great music. There's a lot of great stuff, though, these days really coming out of Canada. It's really like a hotbed of some great music. I was telling you before we got going, we had your girl JJ Wild, who's been opening up for you guys. She opened up the tour, and she's just tremendous. And it just seems like it's a really, really, you know, good time for music to be coming out of Canada. Now, you guys are a two-piece, which I love. I'm always a sucker for a good 2 or 3-piece band. Nice. You and Justin were buddies, though, when you were kids, like in high school. So you guys kind of met in high school and hooked up. How did you know that you could always say, let's start a band, let's play some music and stuff, but how did you know you would have this chemistry for writing music, which goes beyond just wanting to be in a band together?
I think it was more so we had such a history of just being friends before we even played music together. It was, I mean, Justin and I met on the high school football team, actually, in true American fashion there. But we met sophomore year of high school on the high school football team. And I mean, we kind of ran with the same crew, and we were friends for a good 6 years before we even played any music together, a single note. So I think that long-term sort of friendship built up over time is what sort of contributed to us having that chemistry on and off stage. So that's what I would say. So we just had a good foundation, and I feel like I could already read his mind before, and now I can do it when we're on stage, you know?
And you guys started playing together and then writing together. You know, writing together is tough. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know how that dynamic is going to work.
Very true. And Justin's really great at that process, because it's typically how it goes is, you know, I'll write a song, like I'll write the music for a song, whether it's a guitar riff and vocals, or I'll have like some sort of an idea for drums, but he's the best sort of sounding board for my idea. So like when I write something and I send it to him, I can count on him to be like, you know what, I like this. I don't really like how this is, or why don't you try doing this? You know, he's just a good first person to always go to when I write the songs. And I think that's what sort of contributes to the overall development of our music. You know, we're both writing in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I first heard Shakin' Off The Rust, I mean, I was a fan of Black Holes, but when I heard this song, I was like, oh, there's the hook. And then I was like, wait, no, there's another hook. And I was like, wait, no, the song is so, it stays with you. Yeah. It's such an earworm. It stays with you. And it's got the soft, loud, soft, fuzzy guitar, you know, great lyrics. When that song came out of you guys and you heard actually when it was all finished and you listened to the produced piece, did you think, wow, I think this is going to be a radio smash? Because it is for you guys. It's a top 5 record. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, that was some crazy news to get. Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't think so. You know, to be honest, when I was writing that song, it was one of those songs that came together very quickly. I mean, I think some songs you spend, you know, days, weeks, maybe even months on, but Shakin' Off the Rust, I think was written in like maybe 30 minutes one morning. And it was after I had kind of been fed up with a lot of what I was writing at the time. And I just sort of woke up, I had this fresh idea for a very simple riff and a very simple groove. And it ended up being, you know, the forefront of what we wanted to release for this upcoming material that we have. And our producer, Paul, I remember when he heard it, he was like, man, this is the one, like this one has to go first.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess, I don't know. I didn't really think very much of it at the time, but obviously it's become something which I'm very proud of, you know, which we're all very proud of.
And you talked about Paul Palmini from the band Mute Math.
Yes.
Really talented guy. I'm so glad that he's producing too, because obviously he seems to really have that ear. And Mute Math was such a great underrated band. I mean, they just had so many awesome tunes. Did you know that you wanted to work with him? Was it an option? Do you get, as a, you know, a newish band, to be able to pick your producer? Producer's big. Some people may not realize that's a member of your band for the time that they're producing your record. They're in the band, you know?
I can tell you've done this a few times here because you're asking all the heavy hitting questions. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's hard to pick the producer. It's hard to get the producer that you want to get. So when it came to Paul, I remember speaking with our management. I was both Justin and I, they asked us, you know, who would you guys like to produce your next album? We were kind of going through people who would be like, you know, our dream producers. And we were like, yeah, Paul Meany would be cool, but we understand it's probably a little bit hard to get and this and that. But I remember our managers being like, okay, just give us a couple days with it. And they did. And they showed Paul all of our stuff, our live videos on YouTube. And he was like, I'm in, you know, and that for us was just such a, you know, like, I probably can't swear on this, but it was definitely a room for some swear words. Like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, we were definitely happy about that. And he ended up doing exactly what you're saying. Like, he was just a great coach, a great extra member of the band. He lent this ear that, like, honestly is so unique to the music. And I feel like he put his own touch on what we are as a band. And yeah, I mean, I'm so thankful that we got him, really.
And really kind of pushed you guys right into that space where I think you needed to be. It's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to have, we call them radio bands, you know, because we're radio people. So we're looking for radio bands. You know, radio bands are bands that when people hear them, they want to hear them again on the radio.
Yeah, true.
You know, and you guys are a radio band, and, you know, it's definitely not a sucky thing. There are worse things, you know,
very true,
for you to be, you know, the fans seem to really love you. So you got the guitar there, and I don't want to, you know, monopolize any more time. We're going to get 2 tunes today, get a nice little, you know, Tarek Bluestones concert here. So what are you going to do first?
I suppose I'd start with a song called Be My Fire, which is one that I really kind of like playing acoustically. Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll start with that song. Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my flame. Baby, be the softly burning embers through December until June calls your name. Baby, be my conjurer, and I'll hold you dear. Baby, be the visions in the night and wait till morning light for you to disappear. Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire. Oh, be my flame. Yeah, I heard you whisper to all your friends. I heard you telling them that you need a man who you can't give pen. Well, I'll be the gasoline, oh, to keep you alive. And I'll be the cold so unbreakable, burning together straight through the night. That's alright, baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire. And I hold you there so close. Yeah. Oh, baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire. Oh, be my fire. And I hold you there so close, so close.
Love it. Tarek Jafar from the Blue Stones. So good. I hope you couldn't see me on the screen. I was singing the words too. I hope nobody can see.
I could see you.
Oh, you could? So you know what else I wanted to bring up too? I had to jot this down so I wouldn't forget people's names. Let me see if I can find my little papers here. So the other thing that really impresses me about the band is the connection with the fans. There are bands that have really intense connections with their fans. And then there are bands that people like, I love that tune, great live band. But then there are where people really feel that they've connected. When I see that in a new band, it always makes me take notice. So I've had some listener feedback from people that listen to the radio station and that are Blue Stones fan. There's a gentleman named Thomas. Now, Thomas is probably going to be a little pissed at me because Thomas, I think, wanted in on the interview. Okay. Where I was like, well, Thomas, we don't really necessarily Zoom with the listeners. Not that wouldn't be something we would do. But Thomas wanted me to ask you, you made his life and his son's life because you did a catch football with his son. Then the son made you football cards with you as the player on the football cards. And he said, you're always just so incredible, like hospitable. They brought him out to the Philly show for you and got you a collection. And it meant the world to his son. Then I have another listener, Rex, who said, this band is a band of great guys that make unbelievable music, but I love the way they make us fans feel connected and honestly care about how we feel and what we are about. Those are pretty awesome words to have the fans say. That comes from the heart. You don't make that up.
Yeah, I can feel that. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy they feel that way because it is so important to us. I mean, we have such a great fan base that supported us, before we were even noticed by anybody. And it'd be totally remiss of us to not acknowledge them because they're just fantastic, and they love so hard, you know what I mean? They just love so hard. And we want to sort of reciprocate that, with our music, but obviously with connecting with them as well, and that's one thing, especially during this time where we can't actually go out and play shows, we're trying to stay connected with our fans first and foremost, just to show you that, hey, we're here, we're still doing this, and we're thinking of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes a difference. It makes such a difference because we've got so many rock fans in New Jersey and we're hit very hard in New Jersey by this virus. We have lost so many awesome people and it's been a really, really tough time. So when people know that we're doing these Zooms, everybody's like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. It means so much to the fans to be able to stay connected to music. Music's a healer. Music's something that powers you through the tough times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So having you guys do this with us, is really, it touches us and it touches the fans for sure. So I look at the Shakin Off The Rust video and I think now that video almost seems to me to be more relevant. It's almost like you guys, took it, and I know it was taken from, TV show and, the Black Mirror and stuff, But I look at it now and it seems to really be kind of what's happening. People can't go out to live shows. They're doing
Yep.
so much virtually. It's like this whole virtual live music universe. Did you guys feel that way too? Did you think that?
Yeah, I honestly, I'm starting to think that maybe the director had some insider information or something
Right.
like that, because it's so crazy accurate. I think VR concerts for a very long time were something that we kept hearing about, and we kept hearing about becoming a possibility. And even I heard of a couple bands, I can't really think of the names off the top of my head, but that were actually organizing them. But yeah, it was kind of this quirky idea that the director had came up with because he knew our background as far as, like we like to play video games, and obviously we like shows like Black Mirror and things like that. And I think he sort of developed this idea of, well, what if you guys are actually performing a VR concert, which is so incredibly relevant now. So yeah, I guess we sort of lucked out with that at the same, not in a great way. We don't necessarily want to have to do that, but
Right.
yeah, it's relevant. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you want to do another one for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'd like to play Shakin' Off the Rust.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Bang my head against the wall. Try to find my stride, but I trip and I fall. Losing my attention again. Yeah, I hit the bottom, but I'm on the mend. Take another step, push it to the edge. Just a little more, I can see the end. Yeah, you're finished, yeah, you're mine. Always winning due time. You think too much, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust, and you got no trust, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust. I think I broke just a little bit. Walk through the fire, made it back again. Lord knows I tried everything I can, and I'm shaking out the rust. Yeah, I'm shaking out the rust. Bang my head against the wall. Try to hold a smile, but I'm sick of it all. Everyone with something to say. Better hold my tongue or I'll make a mistake. Show 'em what I do, show 'em how it's done. Never turn it down, never gonna run, I learn. You think too much, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust, and you got no trust, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust. I think I broke just a little bit. Walk through the fire, made it back again. Lord knows I've tried everything I can, and I'm shaking out the rust. Yeah, I'm shaking out the rust. You think too much, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust, and you got no trust, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust. I think I broke just a little bit. Walk through the fire, made it back again. Lord knows I tried everything I can, and I'm shaking out the rust. Yeah, I'm shaking out the rust. Oh, I'm shaking out the rust.
Love it.
Right.
Man, I couldn't. I was almost jumping out of my seat. I was like, "Don't jump out of the seat. Don't just
Rocks
be
even
cool.
on acoustic guitar. It rocks even on acoustic.
Be cool." Tarek, thank you so much for hooking up with us on WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. It has been such an awesome part of the afternoon, and our listeners are just so grateful for your time and your talents. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Well, I mean, thank you guys for reaching out. I mean, I love doing these things, and especially for stations I believe in. So thank you so much.
Yay!
Really.
We did it. The dogs didn't bark.
They didn't bark.
Mailman
Yeah, no animal interruption. That's always a plus.
didn't ring the doorbell. I love it. I love it.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Advantage Contracting and by Karis Lock Company.